Matrix Resurrections is the continuation of the Matrix saga, the sequel to Revolutions, and maybe Matrix Online. But what if it's not? What if this new movie doesn't take place after, but before The Matrix? What if Matrix 4 is in reality a prequel? Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
This theory comes from one of our red pills, Walter Prater, who wrote to us the following, and I quote, "What if The Matrix Resurrections is a prequel to The Matrix? Given that there have been 6 simulations, what if this film explores the story that Morpheus told about the man born inside and freed the first of us? As the awaiting audience, we have already been told to question what is real. We have already seen footage of Thomas Anderson possibly appearing like a blend of Neo and Smith. Even who we see as an older Neo and Trinity may not actually be the case, since the residual self-image, RSI, can change. We have seen Morpheus appearing to be touching the mirror in amazement, as if newly born. As for the Matrix video clip in the Resurrections trailer, if the Neo mirror incident happened in every simulation, then the video clip could be from the past Matrix. Some people may dismiss the idea of this being a prequel to The Matrix because they assume that Sati is older now. But Sati is a program. Programs do not age in The Matrix. This is proven by the Merovingian and his crew that were from the second iteration of The Matrix. As the excitement builds from nearly 20 years of waiting, let's prepare ourselves for all possibilities." End quote. Well, where do we start? To begin with, there are multiple Matrix cycles. In each cycle, the integral anomaly appears, and this anomaly must be deposited into a human to keep it under control. Neo may have been cloned in each cycle. Recall that the architect mentioned that he created measures to keep this anomaly under control.
You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control.
Other characters could also be clones just like Neo, including Morpheus, Trinity, and the others. The idea or concept of an alternate Morpheus is not new. The Matrix comic, Who Says You Can't Find Good Help These Days, is the story of a blue pill that is visited by Morpheus. This version of Morpheus was sent by the Oracle to guide this blue pill to meet the architect. We previously theorized that this could be Morpheus from an alternate timeline or from another Matrix cycle before the 6th, because our Morpheus was unaware of the architect's existence. We also think that this story occurs in an earlier cycle because the Keymaker makes an appearance when he should be dead. Now back to the Matrix 4 possibly being a prequel. Let's say that Matrix 4 does take place in the 5th simulation. Could the man that Morpheus mentioned was the one who liberated the first people of Zion is the Thomas Anderson from the 5th simulation? The one that we saw in the trailers? This would be mind-blowing, as Thomas Anderson's therapist could be a younger version of the architect, as well as Priyanka Chopra could be the younger version of the Oracle. Perhaps each character is reborn, and the path of the one is repeated in each Matrix cycle, albeit with some minor deviations. Perhaps these ruins that we see a ship hovering above is what remains of Zion number 5. Another justifiable reason why the Matrix no longer has the sickly green filter is that it is an older version. Now several points contradict this theory. The first is the real-world scenes. We saw Neo with his eyes burned, to which we understand that this movie takes place after Revolutions. Assuming that Neo was different from his predecessors, and they did not lose their sight fighting a red pill possessed by a virus that was previously an agent of the Matrix. The second point as to why Matrix 4 couldn't be a prequel is because Neo has nightmares or visions of his past life, suppressed memories struggling to resurface. Here is where Neo completely differs from the first movie. In The Matrix, Thomas spent his days bored and miserable because he doubted reality. He felt that something was wrong, but he didn't know what, until he met Morpheus, who explained what those feelings were that kept him up at night.
You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
Neo had no memories, visions, or nightmares of a past life. This detail links Thomas from Matrix 4 to the previous trilogy. Remember, Keanu Reeves himself mentioned that the movie was a sequel.
Is this gonna take us before the first one? Is it a prequel? Is it a...
No, going
Nothing like that. Okay.
No. Okay.
Now, this doesn't mean that we couldn't have flashbacks from a previous simulation. Perhaps the film has scenes from the past and possible future, showing us the origin of some of the characters and what their ultimate fates are. There is an air of mystery from the trailer that many have tried to decipher, and that is the iconic green code coming down in the title sequence, but then the yellow code flows up, mixing with the green. Also the multiple uses of mirrors. Both represent duality. Some have claimed that Matrix 4 will happen between two timelines, one in the past and one in the present or future, similar to the recent film Jigsaw. But this theory loses even more steam when we saw older Neo talking to a younger Morpheus. Whatever the situation may be, Matrix 4 will take place in only one timeline. Another possibility is that we are looking at a simulation hundreds of years after the sixth, that this Neo is a new anomaly and has nothing to do with the original, that he is beginning his journey down the path of the one as Thomas did in the sixth simulation, only to inevitably realize that he is simply a slave in a vicious cycle of control that some have attempted to break in the past, but failed. How many cycles have passed since Neo beat Smith if the cycle was not broken? That the ruins in the real world are what remains of the sixth Zion. In our opinion, Neo is in an alternate simulation. The mystery of the young Morpheus is intriguing, and it does make us think of time travel, but we don't believe that it's going to happen in the movie. Neo is in a simulation, and maybe the sixth version still stands, only that 2 decades have passed, and no one knows what ultimately became of Neo. Thanks to Walter Prater for today's interesting topic of discussion, and if you have an interesting theory, leave it in the comments, and we might make a video discussing it in the future. But do you agree? Could Matrix Resurrections be a prequel?
The day-to-day routine can feel like an endless cycle. Waking up can feel almost impossible, but not for us at Simulatte. We have the best variety of coffee and hot beverages to help you wake up to a new life. Stop by our establishment, where you'll also find a great selection of literature to go with your coffee. And who knows, you might even come across a familiar face.
Have we met?
Simulatte, the best cafe in Mega City, because there is only one way, and that is Simulatte.
For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting the Desert of the Real.